upon a time, in a distant kingdom, there lived a beautiful princess named Snow White. One winter snowy day, the Queen Mother sits and sews at a window with an ebony frame. She accidentally pricks her finger with a needle, drops 3 drops of blood, and thinks, "Oh, if only I had a baby, white as snow, ruddy as blood, and dark as ebony." Her wish comes true, and a girl is born, who is named Snow White. The dreams of the Queen Mother are embodied in her. She had snow-white skin, black hair, and a healthy blush on her cheeks. After the birth of her daughter, the Queen Mother dies, and a year later, the king marries another, proud and arrogant beauty, who had a magic mirror, and she constantly asked him who in the world was the sweetest and most beautiful, and the mirror confirmed the beauty of the queen. When Snow White turns 17, and she becomes famous for her kindness, modesty, and rare beauty, the proud queen's magic mirror recognizes her stepdaughter as the most beautiful in the country. The queen cannot bear it, and orders the hunter to take the girl into the forest and kill her, and bring her a lung and liver as proof. Taking pity on Snow White, the hunter brings the queen a lung and liver of a young deer, which she cooks and eats. Snow White finds a hut in the forest with a table set for 7 people, and to satisfy her hunger she takes a little vegetables, bread and wine from each portion, and then, crossing herself, falls asleep on one of the beds. When it gets dark, the owners of the hut come to the hut, who turn out to be 7 mountain dwarf miners. They saw the girl, and were amazed by her beauty. In the morning, after listening to Snow White's story, the dwarfs invite the girl to stay with them and run the household. They also warn the girl against communicating with strangers, fearing the intrigues of her stepmother. Having learned from her mirror that Snow White is still alive beyond the 7 mountains, the queen comes 3 times, dressed as different people, in her arsenal: a strangling lace for a dress, a poisonous comb, and a poisoned apple. Twice Snow White is saved by the dwarfs, but the 3rd time they fail to recognize the reason for the death of their favorite. But even lifeless Snow White remains fresh and rosy, so the dwarfs do not dare to bury her. They make a transparent crystal coffin with a gold inscription and put it on the top of the mountain. Even animals and birds come to mourn the king's daughter, and the good dwarfs take turns keeping watch one by one. The evil queen receives confirmation from her mirror that she is now the most beautiful and whitest of all. Snow White lies in the coffin for a very long time, seems to be asleep, and still looks beautiful. One day the prince rides by and, seeing the girl, falls in love with her. The prince asks the dwarfs to exchange the coffin for gifts, or give it to him, since he can no longer live without looking at his beloved. Out of sympathy, the dwarfs give his servants the coffin with the beauty, which they carry on their shoulders, but they stumble, and a piece of the poisoned apple jumps out of Snow White's throat. Life returns to her. The prince and Snow White celebrate a wedding, to which the evil queen is also invited. Having learned from the mirror that the newlywed is more beautiful than she, the queen panics. However, curiosity gets the better of her, and the stepmother appears at the wedding celebration, where she recognizes her stepdaughter. As punishment for her actions, the villainess must dance in red-hot iron shoes until she falls dead. Watch the movie Snow White, which will take you to the world of fairy tales and give you a good mood.